McGuire joins us now. And when it comes to caucusing, Dr. McGuire, you guys on the Democratic side a little bit more hands-on the Republicans than the Republicans are. Please walk us through the process.
I would love to. It's really democracy in action. So when you get into your caucus, you'll have the different candidates talk, or their surrogates talk about how they stand on things, and then you physically get up and go to a corner. And it's a wonderful sort of democracy to get up and go where your views are, go with your friends and neighbors to where really the people that agree with you are. And then we have a viability standard, which is 15% in most caucuses. So if one of the corners doesn't have 15% of the total group, then that's not viable. And then they get to realign into the other caucus or the other candidates. So it's really the most wonderful time to talk about what your vision is for the country, talk with your friends and neighbors, and really decide who's the best person to lead us forward.
Now, we hear a lot in Iowa, especially about the ground game, and that is so important. Can you tell us why?
Absolutely. So you have to get your people to show up at a certain place at a certain time. And with all the different moving parts to that, that's not easy to do. We have 3 campaigns, and I would say 3 campaigns that have done that really well. And so I think we're going to have a great turnout on caucus night, because they have been calling people. I'm sure you've gotten those calls. They have mailings. They've been telling people where they're supposed to go for their caucuses. I think they've really been very well organized, and I mean all through the state. This is not a one place. This is everywhere in every county. So that's what you have to do. You have to get your people out, and I think all 3 of our campaigns will do that well.
Okay, and with 3 campaigns and the 15% viability threshold, do you expect this to go quickly, or do you expect there to be some convincing going on?
You know, it's a very competitive caucus, so I would guess there will be very much passion at the caucuses. That's one of the great things about the Democratic caucus is we do have this great conversation, and then we have it again when viability goes. So I think there'll be very spirited caucuses, and I'm certainly not going to predict when we're going to be done on Monday night.
Well, I was curious about the newest Iowa poll with Clinton with 45%, Sanders with 43%. Are you surprised it's this close this late in the game?
Well, I would say I've always said it was going to be close, and it is. This is really great for us as a party, that when it's this close, because those organizations really do get out their people, that means turnout's good, and that really bodes well for us in November. This is a party-building exercise.
And I had heard party members say they wanted to have a tough primary to strengthen their candidate, but at what point does it become too drawn out, takes too long to solidify behind one candidate, and at what point does that then hurt your nominee?
Well, I really feel like our candidates have talked about issues, and so I think this has been a very good contest for really honing in on our message and our issues. So at this point, I don't think that's hurting us at all. I think it's actually helping us. It'll be hard to tell when that does turn into.
Well, but it's still only January, almost February. What if this goes on through March and beyond?
Well, I hope we just continue to talk about issues. I think that's been something we've done very well in the party, and I hope we don't get into some other issues and just talk about college affordability and health care and education, the issues that really matter to all families.
And the Sanders campaign has agreed to a debate in New Hampshire, and then the Clinton campaign agreed to 3 more with the Sanders campaign after that. Good thing, bad thing?
I think anytime we can get our message out more, that's great, but there's a lot of ways to get your message out. We've had a lot about debates. You know, they've come to Iowa and really made this a priority and talked one-on-one with people. We also have forums that we've had here. So I think there's a lot of ways to get that message out, but the more we can do that, the better we do in November.
And what about the numbers that 30% of Democratic caucus goers could change their minds still at this point? The caucuses are tomorrow. What does that say about the message that voters aren't hearing from the candidates, or that they are hearing and they're not liking?
You know, it's hard to predict, but I would tell you, I've gone to caucuses for many years. There's always people who are undecided who walk in the door. So I think that's just one of those Iowa things, and I hope they watch the next 2 days, really look at the issues, talk to their friends and neighbors, and I think we'll have a good result on caucus night.
Yeah, you have talked about the passion involved, especially with the Clinton and the Sanders campaigns. You know, when you go to a party, you're never supposed to talk about religion and politics. Now, we're going to get a bunch of Democrats in the room who are very passionate. Do things sometimes get heated? Because we've never been able to go. We're members of the media. We've never been able to go.
I had one gentleman at my caucus who had trouble talking to me for a couple of weeks at the grocery store because I was very passionate about one candidate and he was very passionate about another one, and his wasn't viable, and I was trying to get him to join our group. So yes, it absolutely gets very passionate. This is the next, hopefully, leader of our country. So it should get passionate, and it is the one time I would say you can talk about politics.
Isn't that part of the beauty of it, though?
It is. Oh, it absolutely is. And you will see people change their mind in the caucuses. Even people who think they're decided when they walk in the door, someone will say something and boy, that really trips them and they decide to go to another one. Or during realignment, it's not just the non-viables. Sometimes people from different groups go that are viable. So it's a fluid night because we're talking about the issues that matter to people.
How much caffeine will you have on board that night? Because this could be a long night.
This could be a long night, and as you know, it's been a long time. We've been putting this together for a year, and so our staff is wonderful. We have fabulous volunteers all over the state. That's really the gratifying thing to me is all our caucus goers come out, and we have these great volunteers and staff that have been working so hard. So I'm just really looking forward to the results.
Okay, Dr. Andy McGuire, thank you very much. Well, coming up on KCCI 8 News Close Up.